I invite to the channel the CEO of FINTOWN and the CEO of Bihorek Group. We are going to talk in this video about all the improvements and changes that happened in the platform in FINTOWN in the last few months, and as well about the projects that we are investing in. And don't miss the video till the end, because we are going to talk as well about future plans for FINTOWN. Before we start, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel to not miss more interesting videos about investments. Now, let's go for it. Hello, Maxine, and hello, Vlad. Thank you for being here, replying our questions in our channel.
Hi, Carmen.
Hello.
Hello. Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
So we know a bit already about FINTOWN because in my community there is a lot of investors already in the platform. So we would like to know what is new in the platform in this interview, and we would like to start I know you conducted a large survey among your investors and you share insights about what is in demand, what investors they want. So I would like to know if you could share what is the most valuable topics and what are your plans for addressing these topics that are interested for investors.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the question. We recently been conducting a few surveys, and we see this as a great way to talk to our community because we always listen. And we see that the community has a lot of things to say, a lot of their mind. And we're really grateful for this because otherwise we can't get the feedback and improve ourselves and our platform. So, the biggest topics that were covered and we received the biggest amount of replies to were the things which affect investors on a daily basis. So something which affects their decisions, like the platform transparency. From our perspective, we were and we are quite transparent, but the investors wanted for us to be even more transparent than we are. So they requested much more financial data. And they requested more financial data about the platform as itself, as a FINTOWN, as a legal entity. And they also requested more financial data on the borrower side, which is Bihorek Investments. So this year, we already provided quite a lot of data, like consolidated reports on assets liabilities. We provided a group P&L. And going forward, we do plan to provide much more detailed reports. In fact, we plan to do it on a quarterly basis, which will be smaller financial reports about the products. There will be some kind of statistics related to the borrower side, like the occupancy rate of different buildings and the revenues associated with those building projects, whatever you call it. We also plan to provide some kind of half-yearly reports related to our platform, so the investor will have all the financial data which they need. After we'll provide this, we'll do another survey to understand if this amount of data and this amount of information is sufficient to investors. And of course, if they will ask for even more data, we'll be glad and happy to submit it. Regardless the financial data, they also requested things related to the platform itself, like they ask us to improve the usability of the platform, the UX topics. And we've been recently investing much more time of the development of the developers into the IT infrastructure as it is, and definitely now is a good time to invest into the usability. Now, it happens. As a startup, you firstly think about the security, about the infrastructure as it is, much improve the features, and yeah, now is the time to make it much more comfort. Now, the biggest challenge will be actually with the amount of investments, because we have already investors who invested in tens and maybe hundreds of lots, as we call them, and they experience struggles with filtering there. So we need to invest more in the filters, and we got all the data we needed from the investor. So we literally have the exact view, how they want to see it, how do you want to scroll it, how they want to highlight the stuff. Now it's on the development side. And I'm, as investor myself, I'm also looking forward to see it being implemented. They also ask about the statistics. It should be in the following months. I do believe it will be either in November or in half of December already live, because from the technical side is already done. Now we are waiting from the front end side, the statistics, which will almost like live version of all the investments.
So we will see like some graphics about our investments.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Graphics projects. We were inspired, and I think all investors also from the other platforms. So basically, it will be pretty much the same. You can find everywhere, but currently we like it, this feature. What else from this survey itself? We saw an interest of our community to different investment projects, or you can say different ways how they can cooperate with FinTowN. Currently, we offer rental and we offer bullet investments. We also offer flexi, which is sort of 1 monthly rental, but it's all in the real estate space. We saw that there is an interest into going deeper into this real estate investments. Like some of the community said they will appreciate a product which will have the first round mortgage, for example, right? Some of them said they would love to have the opportunity to co-own the apartment, which already generate funds. Some of them said that FinTowN also have to look into other directions, not only Prague, not only Czech Republic, but somewhere, let's say, even far away, like Latin America. Some of the community members asked us to cooperate with more developers. So we have a lot of different ideas how we can improve the product range for our investors. That's why we conducted another research, and we are currently in the phase of generating the responses, analyzing them. I think once we will have all the results, we will share with the community, and you can see the answers. But from my side, it's really interesting that the people want to expand the range of offer products, and they want to find all those products in one platform in FinTowN. And basically, those are the 3 key takeaways from our side, what we saw from the survey.
Excellent. Let's talk a bit about the projects. I know that you opened recently, Richani. I think I've been there, and I think I still don't pronounce it very well. I'm not sure exactly. Richani.
It's a struggle with the Czech letters. It takes you a few years to get used to pronouncing this letter.
So Richani, like if it were CH in Spanish. So, and I've been there. I was impressed with the project and with the building. So congratulations, because it's a really nice development. And I heard recently that you are offering special discounts rates for investors. So can you share more about like that?
Yes, actually, it's not. Yes, absolutely. It's like we offer the possibility to use some kind of like VIP codes for investors for them to book with discount. So it's I would say like common thing to do in this phase.
Nice.
So of course we offer that.
Could you share more about how is the occupancy progress in this project, because it's the biggest one so far, right?
Yes, exactly. It's the biggest one, and it's has absolutely like not absolutely, but has extended concept. I would say extended concept, because it has also co-working spaces, coffee, and so on. But we actually started, I suppose, the way as we expected. So by the end of October, so it's something like 2.5 months, we had around 71% of occupancy. And I suppose by the end of November, we will have over 80 to 85. So it was like actually a plan. So up to 3 months approximately to get to 80 over 80%. So it goes, I would say, according to the plan. Of course, as it's quite a big building, we are facing a lot of different like operational stuff that like somewhere electricity doesn't work and so on as it's new building. But globally, like in regards of demand, the demand is quite high there. And short term, so at this moment we have around 30 to 40% short-term rental, and around 50-60% is midterm and long-term rental. So it will be, so it's approximately something like a bit less than half to half.
That was according to
That's
plan?
exactly according to like our concept, as we are offering short-term, mid-term, and long-term. If we offered only something, that it wouldn't work the way we wanted. So our concept like proves itself again that it's actually working everywhere because everywhere is different structure of demand.
It's the same for the other projects?
No, it's not the same. If the project in the center, it has during the season it has more short-term rental demand. But in low seasons, it also is filled with mid-term rentals. So it's always floating, but the closer to the center, the more short-term. And if it's further from the center, that it combined with mid-term and long-term rentals.
Really nice. Let's talk a bit more about the platform now. You mentioned like new features. So what are you planning to release on the platform in the future?
Yes. So thank you for the reminder. It was also one of the topics of the survey. We asked what are the most important features our investors want to see, and those are exactly the ones with which we are working about. We wanted to issue the referral system, frankly speaking, a few months ago, but it turned to be not so easy as planned because you have to think about tremendous amount of different scenarios, how it should work. So, referral system is basically an in-house affiliate system, which has, again, a lot of different connections and possibilities. So we have to test it out from all the ways. But we do believe that during November until mid of December, we will issue the referral system, which we've been asked constantly. Then our investors also want an improved way to have their capital, quickly as possible in case they need it. So they've been asking us about the secondary market. But the secondary market, as always, it's also extremely complicated thing, which from the investor perspective, it can sound like quite easy, just click and you sell it. But from the legal perspective and from the technical perspective is a huge task. I know platforms which have been operating for 5-6 years and they don't have this feature because it's a huge IT task. So currently we will be introducing the early exit, as we call it, 2.0, this buzzwords, which will enable investors to withdraw the capital the quickest way possible. They will be always returning the principal. But again, this is something which investor has to use, let's say, in an emergency way, when he really needs the capital. Definitely there are costs associated with this, so we've been thinking how to implement it in the way that for us as a platform, it will not be a financial risk, and also that for the investor, it will not be, something he wasn't expected. So he will be able to withdraw the principal always. Regarding the interest rate, we are adjusting how to do this. But it's a huge upgrade from the existing early exit, which you can currently read about on the platform. So by saying this, I'm telling that the secondary market, as everybody would like to have it, it's still far away from us, as you are being used in other platforms. But what we are heavily working on is how to invest. because we see this as always a very important feature. And how to invest, I would say, will come next after the referral, because all the logic is already done. From the front-end perspective, we also have it done, and from the back-end is currently on the test environment. So once we test it there, we will do a small live test inside our team. And if we see that it works, I hope we will be able to publish it, but I do think it will be more like January, February, something like this. So by doing this, I would say the only way which will be on the backlog, the big way on the backlog, is the secondary market. Other stuff will be done there, and I do hope that it will be sufficient, for the request, for the product request to slow down, because you also can't develop constantly. You have to develop, and then you have to stop, and then rethink about it, maybe do it again.
Definitely auto-invested will be very welcome from all the investors.
Yeah, it's very convenient, very easy to use, and we also want to build it in a few clicks. You can do multiple portfolios, multiple strategies.
So recently, FinTowN lowered the interest rate that offered to investors. Should we expect another decrease in interest in the near future?
Yes, it's quite important questions. We've also been talking about this with our community. So basically, what we try to explain to the community, that it's not that we are greedy and we want to keep the more margins to us as a platform. It doesn't work in this way, because you have to think about this as FinTowN is one source of capital for the borrower. And as we are working in the real estate bubble, then the borrower has multiple streams of capital which he attracts. Some of those capital streams are extremely cheap, like bank financing. Some of them are much more expensive, as peer-to-peer, for example. And some of them are mid-range, like attracting investments via qualified investors, via a financial fund. And the borrower has to balance it somehow. For the recent year, the interest rate in Czech Republic has dropped. So the borrower can borrow money from the bank and from the qualified investors with lower percentage rate. So obviously, borrower was asking the FinTowN to lower the interest rate, because otherwise it's not financial acceptable for the borrower. And we as a platform, we have to balance it somehow. That's why we also decided to lower the interest rate, which we can offer to investors. But also you, an investor, need to know that our margins also has lowered. So it was just lowering in the both sides. And by cutting this 1%, we can keep our platform attractive as for the investors, because the percentage rate is still quite high comparing to the other platforms. And also we are competitive enough for the borrower to keep using the platform, to expand his capital exposure to FinTowN as a peer-to-peer platform. Also, on the other hand, maybe you have saw we introduced much more cashback bonuses. So for somebody who has been active investor, he can actually stay on the same percentage rate which he had before if he's active. So we have a cashback, we have a VIP bonus, and for those who've been investing earlier, we have this early adopter also bonus. So eventually, you can have still the same bonuses as they used to be, maybe by 0.5% lower, but in some cases, without the change.
And some investors ask if lower or higher interest from the European Central Bank will affect FinTown and Vihorek Group business.
You mean if there will be some kind of change?
If somehow like the change in the interest rates from the central bank will affect the business of Vihorek and eventually FinTown.
So I will tell from the FinTown perspective, maybe. Or Max, you want to tell from the Vihorek perspective?
No, you may tell from.
Okay.
And I will continue.
From the FinTown perspective as a platform, it basically we are let's say we are influenced much more by the borrower, because the borrower saying, you can imagine this, the borrower comes to you and say, hey, FinTown, I need X amount of funds and I can pay this and that for the capital. So once the interest rate drops in the EU, so definitely the borrower, whether it will be Vihorek Group or let's say in future somebody else, will tell us, I can borrow it, but for the same pretty much percentage rate, which is currently the market percentage rate. So if it used to be, let's say the overall, 8% in the Europe, and the peer-to-peer is always higher, the borrower will tell you, I can borrow it in, 8+2, so like for 10%. If the average interest rate will be 10%, then the borrower can borrow it for 12%, something like this. If the percentage rate, so basically what I want to tell, if the percentage rate goes up and down, it affects, at the beginning, it affects the borrower, and then borrower comes to the platform, and the platform has to decide if it's able to attract the capital, depending on what the investor will expect, but on what the borrower will expect. So we are like in the middle, so we are affected by the both sides, and we have to balance it somehow. But firstly, it will affect the borrower and then the rest of us.
Yes, of course. Like higher or lower, like any kind of interest rate affects directly like our business in terms of costs, because we have cost on capital, and it's very easy if the interest rates is higher, then it's like the cost goes up, and it's never fun. I would say so, like it was in year 2022 when Czech Pribor actually went up from almost 0 to 7.5%. So of course it wasn't pleasant time. So we are mostly, of course, influenced by Czech interest rate than European one. By European, we actually influence partly, but totally, of course, it influences us directly. So the lower the interest rates, the more happier we are, of course.
And what are the regulations in Czech Republic regarding to Airbnbs and other touristic rentals?
So there actually still there is no any kind of regulation. They're talking about it for several years that something is going to come, but in any way it will not affect our business because we are not in this, dark zone Airbnb where you like rent and do not pay anything, because the biggest thing that they want to regulate is actually fees that they can charge people. We are paying fees anyway, so we are not like in this, I would say, gray zone of Airbnb business. So it will not affect us in any way. Maybe some more administrative stuff they will come up with, but we have nothing like to hide or to change. So I suppose it will only affect like sole entrepreneurs that are renting like 1 unit or 2 and do not pay any fees and taxes and are hiding actually their income from rental. So it's the biggest issue that they've wanted like to resolve somehow. Taxes. They want to tax everything. So but it's not our issue actually.
And one other question that investors ask a lot is, what will happen if business doesn't go well and can pay investors?
Business already goes well, so of course there like anything can happen. I do not want to assume some kind of war or anything, but anyway, we have always a possibility to sell units by units to cover our liabilities somehow. So we are not obliged or don't need to actually We have everything covered by the property, and we don't have to sell the whole building. Actually, we can sell like parts of the units to cover our like liabilities. It's absolutely not an issue. So this is our way of ensuring that if something, of course, everything can change, but we have this possibility to cover our liabilities.
This is actually also this topic. Somehow it connects to the interest rates, and we're also talking with some investors. I was telling the same thing. So if you compare FINTOWN to some of the other platforms, you can see that the other platforms, some of them are offering higher interest rates, but they have a lot of defaults, right? I don't want to mention exactly the platforms. Everybody knows in this industry what I'm talking about. And this is the thing. FINTOWN works in Prague. And if you can see the prices of real estate in Prague, it goes just up and up and up always. There was some kind of stability during the COVID, but otherwise the prices are, even this year, I think it's like 8% increase, maybe even more. And the prediction that will all go sky high. So even if the percentage rate seems lower on some, maybe 1% than the competition, that the, as you're asking, if something goes unwell, so the probability that something goes unwell is always on the table, but you can always sell this real estate. And in Prague, it's always, you can sell them pretty much like immediately. And we had 0 defaults. We plan to have 0 defaults. And we do plan to expand the current offer. So, it will go well.
Like it's always a question of managing, like not to predict the future. Nobody can predict the future, but to manage the scenarios, so what can go wrong and think of it like what we will do in this case, in this case, in this case. So we're not predicting, but of course we're thinking of different scenarios always, what can happen and what our actions would be in that case.
Exactly.
And finally, why investors should invest in FINTOWN?
So basically, this is one of the things I'm now being saying that, there are, if you compare again with the other businesses on other platforms, on some of them in our business, there is this scenario that there is a cash drag from the investor's perspective. So they have a lot of cash on the platform. There is nowhere to invest, and the platform seeks on over the market, trying to find where to put the money into. And it generates unneeded pressure and tension, and it leads to defaults. Because if you are in some kind of tension, you have to find the ways. Otherwise, you have an outflow of the funds from your platform as a platform owner. In our perspective, it's different. We don't want to escalate it. We firstly work with the projects and then with the capital. Now, we don't want to push the stuff. We even had some kind of those replies from the investors in the survey, like in the way, guys, you're doing great, but not, don't go too fast. And this is what always we're trying to do, not only in FINTOWN, but in all other businesses that we are having with Maxim. We are not trying to go too fast, because if you go too fast, you always do mistakes. And then, we'll feel it, investors will feel it, the buyer will feel it, everybody will feel it. So we're trying to do it like slowly and steady to reach some level, to stabilize on this level and go further. That's why, and we're building the FINTOWN in the same values which we are having as the people by ourselves. We are about transparency. We are about open talks. If there is a problem, we face the problem. If I don't want to swear on the camera, but if something is there, you have to address it. You have to tell it. You don't just forget about this. And you can see that always our team always communicate openly and directly. If there is a problem, an investor says, we openly in groups say, yes, it's a problem. We did a mistake, we will fix it. So it's about transparency, it's about open talk, and it's about not rushing the stuff. So from the investor perspective, if they seek a platform, which again is not rushing, and it's stable, what we are doing, offers a good interest rate, has 0 defaults, and has an open, team. You can always reach out to any of us, on our team members, to me and Maxim. We are glad to talk with our investors. You can go to FINTOWN. That's why to go to us.
A good reason.
Platform with human face.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. So thank you very much for being here in our channel. I don't know if you want to add anything else.
We are grateful for all the investors from Spain. We have a huge community of them, and they have been very, very active in asking questions and talking. I know that Alex is almost speaking fluently now in Spanish due to this, because he talks a lot with investors in your community.
Yes.
So yes, we appreciate very much support of Spanish community. It's the best.
So thank you very much, and thank you very much for coming here to reply our questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Carmen.
And if you want to start investing in FINTOWN, if you register in the link below in the description, you will get a bonus of 2% of the first investment you made in the platform. And before you go, if you like the video, please give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss more videos about investments. See you soon.